Gucken wir jetzt nämlich von Alfred, I played Sonic Frontiers because you can't. So ein Arschloch. Aber ich hab's jetzt durchgespielt.
So, you're probably wondering how I got to play Sonic Frontiers because...
Nein, eigentlich nicht. Du hast wahrscheinlich geschenkt bekommen.
Well, you can't. It all started when I got hit up by Sonic the Hedgehog himself, asking me to travel around the world to play the game. Today? I mean, yeah, I was recently in the hospital and I should probably rest, but what better place to relax than the Big Island? I mean, hey, I'm not passing up a free trip to Hawaii. So with incredibly short notice, I packed my bag and left for the necessary hellhole of LAX, where all my recording equipment got pulled in TSA because it probably looks like a bomb. And then after that, my flight got delayed and I ate some glorified cafeteria food. Awesome. Now that you've clicked on this
okay, stopp, Alter, Moment mal. Da war zu wenig zu sehen.
To see some Sonic Frontiers, but I'm telling a story, okay? So, how about a compromise?
Jo, dieses Level hat mich fertig gemacht. Dieses Level hat mich fertig gemacht, den S-Rank zu bekommen.
Though, but I did just buy a new camera for this, and I need it to be a tax write-off. So eventually I made it into the air just to sit next to an older couple heading to Hawaii who read biblical scripture to each other for the entire 5-hour plane ride. The trip hasn't even started yet. And it's going great. You'd think Sonic would treat me better than suffering an economy sitting in front of a child singing Baby Shark while crying. So after the longest 5 hours in documented history, I called an Uber who only listened to reggae covers of Jimmy Buffett and eventually made it to my hotel to immediately pass out, just to wake up at 5 a.m. My day started with
Das war 5 Uhr morgens? What the fuck? Okay, gut, das haben wir.
The usual tradition of staring at the ceiling while being half awake for approximately 3 hours before walking around my private room naked, only to realize that my public window faces the resort's golf course. So, shout out to the Scramble who saw full shaft. Whenever I decided to show...
Wenn das angekündigt wird, werde ich auch alles machen, um es früher spielen zu können. Ja, das ist okay.
Signs of life, I walked around and realized that, hey, Hawaii is actually a very pretty state. I saw a bird, tons of water, and even a free breakfast courtesy of the blue bastard himself. It was a peaceful breakfast, but what was really nice was eavesdropping on everyone around me to hear couples here for an anniversary. Some families are reuniting for the first time in years, and I'm here alone to play Sonic. So, I guess it's time to give you
warum nicht mit Jane?
Sonic Frontiers.
Auf Hawaii.
Before we got into it, they gave us a little preview presentation and completely spoiled that fishing is in the game.
Ja, ich will auch unbedingt noch einen Hawaii-Urlaub machen. Also ich habe noch ganz große Ziele. Japan natürlich. Hawaii ist mit dabei. Amerika generell würde ich gerne mal hin. Also es gibt schon einige Ziele, wo ich richtig Bock drauf hätte.
That's a massive
Sonic auf einer Insel.
First. I got a bit scared because my allegedly explosive recording equipment wasn't capturing any of the footage until I realized that I had the input plugged into the output and the output plugged into the input. This didn't have to be mentioned in the video, but I felt really stupid and felt like I needed out myself on this one. Since the entire room was full of game journalists and me for some reason, honestly, how did I end up here? I didn't record any live commentary, mainly because I'd feel like a dick. Being the loud, funny internet man online is awesome, but doing that 10 feet away from someone complaining about how there's too much water would just make me look like an asshole.
Too much water? IGN? War das ein Anspiel darauf, dass IGN dort ist?
I'm just gonna walk you through my whole experience with Frontiers. We only played curated segments from the first 3 acts of the game, and hey, I gotta say, it's good. What's nice about sitting in the back of the room is that I can tell who had technical difficulties and who didn't, and actually gets to play the game. I'll be honest, I don't really get the plot yet.
Was? Naja, Rubin und Saphir, Smaragd generell. Also die 7.8, too much water.
The cutscenes I watched were missing context, but I think it starts out with Amy, Tails, and Sonic crash their plane by getting sucked into cyberspace that locks friends in jars while Sonic is fortunately Kingdom Hearts strong enough to escape it. Oh, and Eggman's here. The game drops you in one of those cyberspace scenes, which is pretty much just glitchy Green Hill Zone with a lot of references, but they're all pretty subtle. Obviously, the first level is based on Green Hill because this is a Sonic game, but then you have these amazing reimaginings of Chemical Plant and Sky Sanctuary that are all sporting absolute bangers. You have your references to White Jungle, Green Forest, Sky Rail, and probably a ton of others I didn't even pick up on.
Ich musste dieses Level so häufig neu starten. Ich habe diesen Song einfach in Loop gehört, einfach eine halbe Stunde lang.
These cyberspace missions are truly the best part of Frontiers, but they do...
Ich muss zugeben, Die Cyberspace-Level, fand ich, waren anfangs eine sehr schöne Abwechslung zum Open Zone-Prinzip. Ich fand es gut, dass sie da sind. Aber gegen Ende, muss ich zugeben, fand ich sie einfach langweilig, weil es langweilige Level waren. Am Anfang war es noch okay, aber ich finde, je länger ich gespielt habe, habe ich gedacht, so, okay, ich hätte gern besseres Level-Design.
Do this silly little thing at the end where they tell you, hey, you're actually awful at this game. So you replay it a little better until you realize that you're still awful at this game. Only to replay it again and again and again and eventually continue on now that your ego can rest. Then it's like, oh hi, welcome. You're trapped on Hell Island and your friends are dead.
Deswegen, Sagaleo. Es gab ein Level, da war ja wirklich, um den S-Rang zu bekommen, musstest du 2 Minuten 15 sein. Was bedeutet, dass das Level, wenn du dich nicht darauf konzentrierst, schnell zu sein, wahrscheinlich um die 3 Minuten geht. So, Junge, 3 Minuten Cyberspace-Level, wow! Junge, es gab literally ein Level, wo steht, wenn du schnell bist, brauchst du 30 Sekunden. Ich so, Bro. Ich brauchte 30 Sekunden für S-Rang. Wisst ihr, was das heißt? Ich war innerhalb von 25 Sekunden fertig. Bro, das macht keinen Spaß.
Slightly lower voice for this game, and it makes me feel just a little bit uncomfortable.
Looks like I'm the only one who made it out of that. Whatever it was.
Ich bleib nebenbei dabei, die deutsche Synchro von Sonic Frontiers fand ich ass.
I guess he had to start
Battle Level, ich weiß nicht, welches Level es war. Ich weiß nur, es war 30 Sekunden, nicht so was zu Ende.
For the most part, the overworld is super Breath of the Wild. Like, as you hit your Ubisoft towers to reveal more of the map. I don't think this game has fast travel, which is unfortunate.
Doch, hat es.
But I'm sure the reasoning is because all travel is fast travel when you're Sonic. Or something like that. The intro just shows you how to accomplish all these little side quests, how to fight some baddies, and then that speedrunners can definitely find a way to sequence break. They have all these badass mechs you have to fight that hit you with a 1950s punch sound effect, and when you beat them, they give you mystery dungeon time gears. The combat feels a bit sluggish at the start, but once you decorate...
Weißt du, was traurig ist? Am Anfang, ganz am Anfang, wenn das Combat ist so, dann wurde es besser und dann als weiterhin hast du gedacht, okay, jetzt brauche ich es aber nicht mehr. Das ist so ein bisschen das Problem. Das hat so... Es ist eine Parabel, so eine umgedrehte Parabel, so. Und dann wird es immer schlechter.
Decorate the skill tree a bit more. This combat potential is unlimited. So now imagine Smash Bros, right? Imagine Sonic being on the other side of the map, and then he just busts this out. Yeah, so I think this game's fine without balance patches. Going back to the mech fights, this shit's insane. You got a guy named Sumo who requires a surgical amount of geometry.
Das fand ich cool.
You have a fucking spaceship who forces you to grind on their carbon footprint, and then you're thrown into this badass fight this badass dude, and get hit with the newest Sonic thing.
Ja, das ist mir gar nicht aufgefallen. Oh.
Is the Psyloop, aka the
Ja, diese Moves bräuchte Sonic echt im nächsten Smash.
little circle path thingy. And I'm not proud of what I had to do, but I knew I had to do it before anyone else did. I would have drawn full cock and balls, but I heard Japanese snickering behind me over the Among Us, and I just didn't want to press my luck. So after beating the next mech, I felt good, because I have officially proven myself to be faster than the nearby game journalist. The flow of this game is essentially just fighting bosses, so you can go to cyberspace, so you can get the keys, and then you can get a Chaos Emerald, but let me tell you about the horror. That is 1-2.
Junge, da habe ich so hart, muss noch sagen, ne? Ich habe wirklich, ich glaube, 54,98 gebraucht. Das war Arsch auf einmal.
The hardest level in this game somehow. I brought this up to Sega staff when I was done, and everyone knows about it, and everyone agrees. On your first attempt, you have a lovely stroll through Sky Sanctuary and think, wow, what nice music, what nice scenery, what a nice game. Well, that's where you're wrong, asshole. This game actually hates you. You finish the level in 69 seconds, nice, and then you're told for an S rank, you gotta shave off 14 whole-ass seconds off. And, you know, that doesn't sound that bad since you weren't trying and it's not fully reflective of your skill, but after 20 minutes of grinding and doing shit like this and this and this...
Ja, Junge, ich habe wirklich versucht, alles perfekt zu machen. Jedes Mal, als ich gemerkt habe, irgendwas war falsch, muss ich neu starten.
It's not good enough. Like, what 60-year-old dev thinks he's better at the game than me? I tried a few other attempts, but like, this level is brutal, and it's the second one of the game. Is every level gonna be like this? You're probably wondering.
Ehrlich gesagt hätte ich mir gewünscht, dass die alle so wären.
No, not at all. That's the frustrating part. Only this one is hard, and I don't know why. I eventually gave up, felt terrible, and found Amy, who's half alive, which means our goal's already half done. To save her, not not killer. Fight a few badass mechs, find these weird little heart tokens, and maybe a few more mini games along the way before asking, why was that level so hard? Today's play session is limited to just a few hours, so it's probably best that I move on. The other cyberspace levels were definitely easier, which allowed us to get a couple more Chaos Emeralds, but yeah! Jesus Christ, it has to be possible, right? So, in typical Jacob ALPHARAD fashion, I ended up spending a full hour of my 5-hour playtest session grinding out this one level, and oh my god, this is what made me realize that the game is actually really good. I think some of the fine movements can be...
Und das ist die Sache. Ich wünschte, alle Level wären gut, weil dann wäre das insane. Dann habe ich kein Problem damit, wenn die Level ein bisschen kürzer sind. Wenn du Pinpoint Perfect Timing brauchst du deine Moves, aber brauchst du auch nicht.
Slippery, but like, I had to create speedrun tech and implement it before the game even came out. I would jump, boost, drop, cancel over springs to save half a second. I would even skip the rails in hopes of trimming off a few frames. And trust me, rails don't work in this game either. It's Sonic, dumbass. And honestly, just doing everything I possibly could until
ungefähr so sah es bei mir aus.
All-fast fist bump alongside a fuck yeah that filled the room of now nervous game journalists. I was feeling pretty good about myself, as I'm sure nobody else in this room had a 1-2 rank, but I also noticed that I am falling incredibly behind, as that guy, that guy, and even that guy are all on Supersonic. So
langweilig.
I'm just gonna skip ahead. Remember that one
Kein Wunder, dass die ganzen Game Journalists immer so eine Scheiße schreiben, 7.8 too much water, wenn die durchrushen und sagen, oh, das ist Kacke.
He rocked our shit? Yeah, he's the boss of the first island. I think the undisputed best part of this game is that And apparently that's all I can show. But let me just say that this fight felt incredible. You can't see it, but you just have to take my word for it. It made me feel like this game was finally gonna be special in a sea of things that haven't been special.
We can use these as ramps.
So when you make it to the next island, all the Chaos Emeralds scatter, which makes sense and kind of ties into how the rest of the game is going to work. Fight, gear, level, key, emerald, boss, scatter. All of Sonic Frontiers is about diving into random aspects of gaming and somehow pulling it off.
Junge, ich habe für die erste Insel, glaube ich, 4 bis 6 Stunden gebraucht. What the fuck?
Like, let me show you an example from another game. Just kidding, this is also Sonic Frontiers for some reason. Sometimes you have a skydiving simulator, sometimes you're playing Toho, and sometimes you can't see shit because the game randomly decided that it's time for you to gamble your life savings away while fighting a boss. However, when it comes to all the little missions, I will say they're pretty varied. Some are just those simple, oh, I see kind of moments. Some are just seeing how much damage you can deal in a set amount of time. The weirdest one is this Knuckles thing where you have to deliver pots to him. It opens with like this Mario Kart.
Ich dachte, die erste Insel 15 Minuten. Ja, ist halt Speedrun, aber das ist halt nicht so meins.
Fanfare.
Ich bin Mensch, ich gucke mich komplett um, ich tob mich komplett aus. Ich habe das Spiel auch erst ich habe wirklich 30 Stunden für das Spiel gebraucht.
There's all about like risk reward. You got to get 16 pots to Knuckles for whatever reason. So the more pots you got, the faster the level got. But then if you took it slow, then the level lasts forever. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, I probably know how fast it goes. No, you don't. What the fuck am I supposed to do about this? But then when you beat it,
Diese Tanzeinlagen, Alter. Junge, jetzt diesen Tanz lernen.
What? However, the overworld is kind of what I have the most problems with. You'll just follow this waypoint and be like, oh yeah, let's go over here. And then it's like the edge of the fucking earth. And that doesn't tell you anything, so I just kind of kept going in random places until I was like, oh, okay, I think this is But unfortunately, they cut me off right here, and that's the end of it. So I packed up my bag, went to a luau, and Ubered to the airport just so I could go home. And hopefully they didn't hear any of my bomb jokes. This was just a fun trip.
Game streamt zocken, ich hab's schon durchgespielt.
That left me with a lot of memories, but
vielleicht irgendwann mal, aber ich habe momentan keinen Plan dafür.
There was only one thing I could think about. So looking back, I probably could have saved a few frames by skipping this.
1-2, so geil, so true. Ich liebe ALPHARAD.